Worthington III is dead, and one of you killed him. Welcome back, it's me, Walter. Ow! Okay. Act 1 came easily enough, but Act 2 is a tricky one. A murder has been committed, and now it must be solved. In some of my mysteries, I isolate the characters, say, on an island or mountaintop or in the woods during a blizzard. From there, the murderer will cut the phone line, trapping everyone inside with him or her. At other times, such as this one, I bring in a homicide detective to catch the culprits. I'll be playing just such a character, Lieutenant James McMillan III. I can't sit back and let them do all the work, can I? If you've been taking notes on how to commit a murder, you should have written down that you must provide all of your suspects with ample opportunity and a motive to doom the victim. Everyone in this show had a reason to kill Edward Worthington III, except Peggy Sue, who stood to gain access to a vast fortune had he lived.
I have rotten luck. Not as rotten as Edward.
As I was saying, all but Miss Dixie Cup had a reason to doom the victim, and they all had the opportunity to stab the man in the back. Literally. In case you're wondering how he created that great special effect, during the blackout, Connie hid the cake knife under a pile of napkins, and then Roy took a matching knife handle with a hook attached to it and stuck it into the back of Edward's coat. All Edward had to do from there is slip a blood capsule from his pocket to his mouth and bite down. Simple, huh? But I digress. In Act 2, Lieutenant McMillan, I, will search for clues, question the suspects, and by its conclusion, figure out who indeed murdered Edward Worthington III. But for now, let's continue the show. So, you've all told me as a group what happened. I intend to question each of you again individually. I'll start with you, Miss Romney.
Thank goodness. I, for one, am anxious to wash my hands.
Everyone should before they get ink all over the furniture. Miss Beatrice has already finger painted the coffee table top.
Clumsy me.
Don't fret, Mrs. Snickers were in for you.
I've been dying to scratch.
I regret the inconvenience, but it is standard procedure to fingerprint all the suspects at the crime scene.
If we're excused, I'm going to buy sweet to cleanse my digits.
May I suggest a guest gather in the parlor next door? There's half after us all. Staff in with the kitchen until you're ready for us.
That's a good idea.
So, what would you like to know, Lieutenant?
Let's see, Miss Brumley, you were Worthington's personal secretary. How long have you served in that capacity?
About 6 months, I guess. I mean, I've worked for Worthington Enterprises for years now, but when Edward's old personal secretary quit last June, he pulled me from the secretarial pool and gave me her job.
Obviously, your relationship became very personal if he announced his intentions tonight to marry you.
What can I say, Lieutenant? It happens. I would have made Edward a good wife, too. Better than that ice cube he was married to. A lever can shoot you a look that will give you frostbite. If I had to guess, she's your murderer, Lieutenant.
It's possible, but in my experience, jilted spouses often strike out against the competition. In this case, you.
You mean to tell me you think she would have hit me with that pick sticker? Golly, the idea gives me the shivers.
Mrs. Worthington might well have killed her husband. I'm just saying there are other possibilities.
I have to admit you're right. I'd rather stitch my lips shut with a sewing machine than talk bad about anybody. But like his brother Tony, he could have done it for her. He's a charmer, but I wouldn't trust him any further than I could throw a pigskin with a pig still in it. Roy Lawrence had good reasons to kill Edward too. He was going to fire both of them. He was going to report Lawrence in dealings with that biographer fellow Jameson to the Bar Association and press criminal charges against Roy.
So I noted. The rest of the family and the household staff might have killed him as well. Mrs. Phillips might have killed him in order to protect her husband. If there's one thing worse than having no suspects in a murder case, it's having too many. Apparently you are the only one who stood to lose not gained by Worthington's death. You're the only one I feel sure didn't stab the man.
Thanks a bunch, Vic. Can I go home now? I'm about to absolutely collapse from exhaustion. But before I do anything else, I have to look over the classified ads.
The classifieds?
Why, yes, Lieutenant. When I lost Edward, I lost my job. If Allegra is going to take charge of Worthington Enterprises, you can bet your boots I'm the first person she'll get the ads. Anyway, I can leave, Lieutenant.
Not yet. After I question the others, I might have more for you.
It's fine. I'm happy as long as I can help. I'll be in the parlor if you need me.
Huh. Pete? Yeah, it's McMillan. How's it going? That's good. Yeah, All right, how are the fingerprints coming? That's it? The only ones that weren't smudged where Mr. Withington's and his wife's. That's too bad. Everyone saw him give her the knife to open an envelope with. Yeah. Wait, you found traces of what? That could be a vital clue. Excellent work, Pete. Well, yeah, they've been fingerprinted. And they're washing their hands. Yeah. All that evidence right down the drain. If I'm gonna figure out who murdered Edward Worthington, I've got my work cut out for me. No, that wasn't meant to be a pun, Pete. Uh-huh. Thanks again. I'll check you later. You hang up first. You hang up. Pete. Okay.
You rang, sir?
Yes, Edith. Get all the servants in here, please.
Of course it's Edith.
Good to see us, sir.
I do. Be seated, please. I have a couple more questions regarding what took place tonight.
I don't know how we can help you, Lieutenant. You were in the kitchen most of the evening.
It's what took place in that kitchen that I intend to find more out about. The murder weapon, the knife.
My knife? What about my knife?
Where's it usually kept?
It's part of the set.
Seldom there though. It's Ina's favorite kitchen tool.
That's right. I use it to slice and dice everything. Not including people, if that's what you're thinking.
I'm not thinking anything at particular moments.
A good sharp knife is hard to come by. I like to have it back after the case is closed. Or is that too morbid?
That's too morbid.
I gather you used the knife while preparing dinner?
Naturally, I use it to chop up some fresh chives to sprinkle over the little potatoes.
What else was served?
Roast beef, gravy, Brussels sprouts,
Salad?
congealed, jello and fruit.
At first, I considered titling the play The Blood Like Jello Congeals. Then I thought, no, that's really gross. I don't want to see a play with that name, and I doubt that any of you would either. Anyways, so you did prepare a salad dressing, say oil and vinegar?
Mr. Worthington couldn't stand lettuce.
I heard you say once the cabin to eat great leafy things, you would have been born around.
I see. What did you do with the knife after you prepared dinner, Ina?
Washed it, of course, along with other utensils in the dishwasher.
Who touched it after that?
I did. I told me to take it out of the dishwasher and put it on the tray with the sauces and groceries. But in case it was still damp, so I wiped it off with the dish towel.
And nobody else touched it. There were no fingerprints except possibly yours or traces of food on the handle when you brought it out here?
No, sir. It wasn't out of my sight the whole time.
That's what I needed to know. Thank you. You've all been very helpful.
If it's a matter of any of our fingerprints being on the knife,
It isn't that, Roy? No, Hollister. Okay, yep, thank you. It isn't that. The only fingerprints that were discernible were Mr. and Mrs. Worthington, who we know touched it.
I see.
Then how have we helped?
I'll explain later. I hope. For now, can I see the kitchen?
As you wish. This way, Lieutenant Miller.
Oh,
Yeah. Close the door.
Tony, what are you doing here?
Close the door.
Are you eavesdropping on us?
No, I just happened to be listening in this direction. So, the murderer didn't leave any prints on the knife.
Unless it was Mrs. Worthington.
Sis, it wasn't her.
How can you be sure?
For one thing, Edward was stabbed in the back. The liker was sitting in front of him. If she had picked the knife up off the table and stuck him with it, she would have hit him in the chest.
Maybe, but it was too dark to see. Mr. Worthington couldn't turn his light switch.
Clever girl, as well as pretty. I knew you were special from the moment I laid eyes on you.
You should.
I know. That's what makes it so much fun. Come on, let's go somewhere where we can be more alone.
Lieutenant McMillan will want to question you too.
Not for a while. He's busy in the kitchen with Betty Crocker, lurching a happy homemaker. Come on.
But it's cold out there.
Don't worry. I'll keep you warm.
He thinks I did it. I know that policeman thinks I killed Edward.
Why would he, Roy? Why should he suspect you any more than the rest of us?
So tell he doesn't believe it with the money in my account on Edward's behalf.
Why not? I believe you.
That doesn't count. You're my wife.
I think it counts. A wife should do anything she can to help her husband.
Even commit murder.
You think I killed Edward? Roy, that's silly. You know how much of a klutz I am. If I try to pick up a knife in the dark, I probably won't cut my pinkies off.
That's true. Now you're somebody else's. So, where's fellow lieutenant? I want to volunteer to question next and get it over with. My nerves are shot.
When I was coming out from the half bath across the hall, I saw him going toward the kitchen with the servants.
I meant to ask you, what were you doing there for so long?
Searching the medicine cabinet for some calamine lotion. I didn't find any though, but that's okay. The itching has stopped.
That's good.
I'm getting better, honey. Before tonight, I hadn't broken out in hives for so long, the scratches on my arms healed up.
I noticed it was nice having a wife that didn't look like an inept lion tamer for a change.
I was thinking about buying some more short-sleeve dresses, but I guess that's out now.
I'd say so. Connie, did you notice any aspirin in that medicine cabinet? I got one of my splitting headaches.
Oh dear, I'm afraid I did it. But I'm sure Allegra has some up in the guest suite. I'll run up and look.
I'd better go with you. With your sense of direction, you could end up in the neighbor's bathroom.
Oh, Roy. Poor Edward. He didn't even get to open his gifts. He probably would have liked the sweater we got him.
Maybe we can return to Walmart for a refund.
Have you seen Edward?
No.
Eat it.
No, we haven't. Excuse us.
There's gotta be somewhere. When they're on a
Small table next to the half bath. When I went in, they were probably in a container, but when I came out, they're just lying there in the slump.
Oh, there's a vision. We can put them in.
There's something inside.
What?
Looks like colored pebbles.
No problem. So, where's that detective?
Shouldn't we wait in the parlor until he's ready to question us?
Why? No one else is. I'm sure poked Edward fast enough so we can all go home, but I suppose that's not likely to happen.
Mom, you didn't do it. Did you kill Father?
No, dear, I can't take the credit for that. Even though I threatened to loads of times, and I know I was cutting him down, but I didn't do it literally.
I hope you can convince Lieutenant McMillan of that.
He seems like a smart guy. Lieutenant should realize that if I was to knock off Edward, it would have been years ago when he left us to marry Allegra, that shark woman. He would have a hard time proving that I killed my ex in a fit of anger that lasted 10 years.
If anyone could hold a grudge that long, you could, Justine! Except you wouldn't have needed a knife. With that sharp tongue of yours, you could have licked him to death.
Speak of the devil, and she appears. Allegra's still here? I'm shocked you didn't go out to buy a new black dress.
With what? You know I don't have any money of my own, and I'm sure Edward's accounts will be frozen for quite some time.
Good point. Speaking of money, the fact that he was supporting the endeavor should be proof enough that I didn't do it. I'm not dumb enough to slay the goose that was laying the golden eggs.
But tonight he threatened to cut off your income.
I know. He's done that loads of times. Every time I ticked him off, which was a lot. If he ever did stop my alimony checks, I would consider homicide, but not until then.
The very idea! Oh!
Let me explain.
What's going on?
A meeting of Edward's wives, past, present, and future. We were just waiting for you to join us.
What was going on out there?
This snake in the grass Lawrence made a pass at me.
Peggy Sue.
Keep your scaly hands to yourself. After Lawrence, I'll be looking for a new job now that Edward's dead. He tried to offer me one with his firm, and then he tried to show me some of the fringe benefits. If Edward could see what you tried to do, he'd be spinning in his grave. If he were even in it yet.
How could he see Lawrence if you were in his grave?
So you know what I meant.
I've felt a tremendous attraction to you for a long time, Peggy Sue. But I couldn't do anything as long as Edward
Was alive? Well, it seems that Edward's trusted lawyer had yet another motive to murder him.
I have to agree with you, Allegra. Even though it hurts me like a toothache to admit it.
No, I wouldn't murder Edward because I too have romantic feelings for Peggy Sue.
It's good because I want to marry on a Christmas tree.
Why? Because I'm not rich? That's what you to your boss, wasn't it? His millions.
So what if it was? My grandma always told me anyways, love is sweet honey, but money lasts forever.
Are you sure you're not descended from Scarlett O'Hara?
Oh, Dad, I could teach him this lesson.
Maybe you shouldn't have.
Kid said it didn't warn him so much. We're just passing through.
What?
Wonder what that was all about.
I don't wish to that.
Tony, your nose!
I can remember what my eye's gonna look like.
Maybe next time you'll listen to me. Come on, I'll let it tell the half bath and clean it off.
Doesn't anybody use the front door? When I lived here, we used the front door all the time.
You men, you're all alike.
What? I'm not like Tony. I was just trying to comfort you.
I'm sure you were. If you would come for me anymore, my daddy would come after you with a shotgun.
Everyone's back in here. Are we playing a new game?
No, Aunt Bee, we wouldn't dream of playing a new game without you.
Are there any nibbles in here? I was saving some room for birthday cake earlier, so I didn't eat much dinner. Then nobody cut it.
I noticed you barely touched your roast, and you also barely touched your whipped potatoes.
There was some mince in here earlier. earlier. Now, where were they? Never mind. I'll get you something. Why don't you go sit down?
You ladies will excuse me, I have to make a phone call.
Gladly.
I'm guessing he's calling to tell the good news
Good news? What good news?
that Edward has gone to meet his maker. On second thought, I don't think that's where he's going. Anyways, Lawrence is a lucky man. Not only is the man who threatened to disbar him dead, that Jameson fellow will pay him a fortune for a first-hand account of Edward's murder. With a climax like that, Edward Worthington III's biography will be a bestseller.
I told you Lawrence was a snake.
You won't get an argument from me.
Someone ring?
Yes, Edith. My aunt is a little hungry. Is there something you could find to serve?
Yes, Miss Stanford. It might take me a minute to detective everything, the kitchen, cabinets, refrigerator. I'll do that.
But
He's searching the kitchen. I wonder what for.
You should
maybe
pay more
something
attention to
new.
the label.
I'm sorry, honey. It was an accident.
Perhaps you should see a doctor.
I'm not sure what much he could do. Ah! Hello again, everybody.
What's the matter, Roy? You look a little green around the gills.
Well, Justine, still have a ferocious headache. Couldn't find any aspirin in the guest suite bathroom, so my wife went to look around in the Allegra's medicine chest. Stupid me swallowed some pills she gave me without looking closely at them.
It wasn't aspirin? Well, no, I couldn't find any aspirin, but I did find this vial of big orange pills that looked just like the prescription strength Motrin that Roy takes home for his headaches. I gave them to him before I looked on the label that they were Premarin, and I only gave you 4.
Premarin? What's Premarin?
Double strength estrogen.
Connie, if Roy decided to hurt the dry on you, just is not gonna why.
Oh, Justine, stop it!
Honey, why don't you sit down?
Connie, Edith's bringing some snacks if you'd like to join us.
Oh, that's great. Maybe getting something into Roy's stomach will help with the,
It's hot in here. Why is it so hot in here?
Trust me, it'll pass.
Isn't that better?
I can't breathe.
So which had you rather do, breathe or bleed?
Oh, Mitch, that's why I need to sit down.
Well, happy Tony.
This fingers poke me in the nose.
Oh, that ain't no thing. If I were you, I'd scratch your eyes out. Rawr!
I'm sorry, Allegra. Roy took some of your Premarin by mistake. I thought it was aspirin.
What's Premarin?
Female hormones.
Oh, why don't you just tell everybody? I don't know what's going over me.
Oh dear. What's the matter, Mr. Phillips?
He's got in touch with his feminine side. Actually, he's in touch with my feminine side. It was my prescription he took.
If you have any more pills left, I'd like to borrow some. I want to slip them into Lawrence's drink and then see how he likes to get picked
Whatever
up.
happened to topics of conversation I can understand, like the weather?
Ooh, hairstyles.
Let's talk about murder. Okay, look, I know I said earlier that I wouldn't stoop to use low comedy, but Roy and the estrogen bit got a little out of hand. Straighten up, Roy.
All right.
And Tony, take the toilet paper out of your nose. You look like a walrus.
That's a relief.
Anyways, let's talk about murder.
So, Lieutenant McMillan, do you know who killed my husband?
My ex-husband?
My future husband.
Not yet, but the head of our crime lab, Pete, passed on some interesting information that might prove to be relevant.
And I don't suppose you mind telling us?
When the time is right.
Excuse me, Lieutenant McMillan. Miss Deborah said Miss Beatrice was hungry and requested you bring her some food.
We thought everyone else in my life was snack as well. After Mr. Worthington's announcement, no one seemed to have much of an appetite. The roast beef was barely eaten. No one touched my Brussels sprouts.
There were plenty of hors d'oeuvres left as well, so we brought them out.
Oh, good. Nibbles.
Maybe.
Certainly. Mrs. Vickers, everybody in the household seems to have migrated back to the living room except Mr. Tate. Would you find him, please, and ask him to join us?
Yes. The snake slithered into the parlor a few minutes ago.
Help yourselves.
You wanted to see me, Lieutenant McMillan?
I do. Be seated, please. Staff, if you'll remain as well.
Oh, Lieutenant McMillan, I have quite the headache. Don't feel at all well.
Something you ate, no doubt.
If you're ready to question us again, I'd like to volunteer first and get it over with.
That's fine, Mr. Phillips, but I'm not going to be questioning you. They're going to. As I mentioned earlier, I intended to question each of the suspects individually in this act, but My phone call to Pete at the crime lab furnished an important clue I had to follow up on. In order to conclude this play at a decent hour, which I'm sure you appreciate, we need to speed things up. House lights? Alright, at this point I'm going to allow you to question or accuse any suspect you believe to be the murderer of Edward Worthington III. Now, we're going to start with Mr. Phillips since he volunteered to go first. Keep in mind that the murderer will no doubt lie in order to protect himself or herself. Now, will any of you who think Mr. Phillips murdered Edward Worthington III please stand? Okay. Things are looking good for you so far. If you have a question for him, please raise your hand. You do not have to think he killed Worthington to ask a question. Or you can just not ask a question. Alright, since we're so full of energy so far, we're going to move on to Mr. Tate. Alright, if you think Mr. Tate killed Worthington, please stand.
Well, I know.
Okay, that's... Alright.
I think that's a few more.
That is a few more than none of them to begin with. Yeah, okay, if you have a question for Lawrence, please raise your hand. We're still working? Okay, cool. There you go. You?
Why did you think that now was a good time to make a move as secretary?
Well, you know. When you see someone you care for so dearly in such horrible pain, you think irrationally. And well, I didn't think quite irrationally.
Oh, I had no idea.
All right, any other questions for Mr. Tate? Yes, you.
How much were you getting paid for the soup on Edward?
A lot. Don't tell anybody though.
We know. We all know.
Yes, that was quite loud.
I think they all heard that.
All right, let's move on to Allegra Worthington. If you think Allegra Worthington killed Edward Worthington III, please stand.
Oh, wow.
Okay. If you have a question for her, please raise your hand. Really? Okay. Like, it could be dumb. I really don't care. Yes, you.
Why the estrogen prescription?
What?
Why the estrogen prescription?
Like, why do I take them?
Yes.
Because,
Were you trying to get pregnant?
well, I mean, the doctor prescribed them to me.
You were trying to baby block them.
What? No! Yes! It didn't work. Dude, I did not have chance.
My goodness gracious.
What? It didn't work.
Right, let's...
You tried to do that. I mean, you had Deborah.
No, it didn't work.
Okay, let's... any other questions for Justine? You're gonna have to rate... Or not Justine, sorry. I can't tell them apart, they're both jerks.
What?
Any other questions for Allegra? Sorry. Yes, you.
How long did Allegra know that the mister was having an affair with Peggy Sue?
I somewhat noticed for like a year. I tried to ignore it, but... Yeah.
Wait, you knew?
There were some hints, you know, maybe.
Like a red lipstick on your sheets?
Yeah, or maybe you coming in my house sometimes.
Okay, let's move on to Mr. Blackwell. If you think Mr. Blackwell killed Worthington, please stand.
Oh, I'm honored. Oh, never mind.
All right, yes. If you have any questions for him, please raise your hand.
None.
I'm
willing to answer.
Yes, you.
How many women are you expecting for them at the house?
At the house.
At the house.
At the house. Only at the house.
I didn't
Two.
specify range.
No.
8, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9.
Can you just count Beatrice?
Oh, you cannot tell me you have high standards.
I don't have high standards, but I do draw a line.
Sure you do. All right. Any other questions for Tony? Yes, you.
Why do you live with your sister?
I don't live with her. I just came here.
He's broke.
No money.
He does smell like cheap cologne.
I can't say it was quite cheap.
All right. So if you think Justine murdered Edward Worthington, please stand. Oh, good. Good. Okay.
I can go home.
There's one. All right, if you have a question for her, please raise your hand. Oh, okay. All right, you're sure? You are all 100% certain? Without a shadow of a doubt in your mind, you have no questions for her?
See? They get it!
Huh? Wait, you back there, are you asking a question?
Ah, yes, I was. All right. So, you know, he paid your alimony checks. So, how often did you go shopping?
First of all, I don't think we should ever ask a woman that. I really do like going out. I like spending money on my daughter. She deserves it. She's in college, guys. I'm so proud of her. She's in Stanford University, and she's trying her best. She's trying her best. Okay. Does the jet ski store count? And the mansion searching?
Okay. Any other questions for Justine? No? All right, let's move on to Hollister. Can I smoke here, by the way?
No, sir.
Jeez, okay. So if you think Hollister killed Mr. Worthington, I'd ask you to please stand. And then, okay, if you have any questions for him, please, oh, shoot. If you have any questions for him, please raise your hand. All right, any questions for him? Yes, you.
How long have you been working for, you guys?
I have been working for Edward Worthington since before Peggy Sue was born.
Okay, that's gross. Okay, any other questions for Hollis? Oh, okay, yes, you.
Is it true that the butler did it?
That is not, and that is a harmful stereotype, and I am greatly offended.
Okay, let's move on to Ina the cook. Do you have a last name, Ina? Okay, and if you think Ina killed Edward Worthington III, please stand. Okay. If you have a question for her, please raise your hand. Let's see. Okay, now I have questions. Thank goodness. Oh, now I get to shoot. Yes, you!
Are you feeling the lieutenant after the show?
Maybe.
What?
Huh?
I didn't hear a thing.
Was that your bad ear?
Okay, any other for Ina, okay, yes, you.
Yes, certainly.
Everybody can agree that they're really good.
Sir! Do you want the honest truth?
Oh, okay, got it. You can. They're playing this in.
Not on the cigarettes.
My Cubans. Okay. All right, let's move on to Edith the maid. If you think Edith killed Worthington, please stand. Really? Okay, any questions for her? No? Oh, yes, you.
Can't you do better than the brother?
Typically, detectives try to ask questions with a bit of nuance, not ones that have obvious answers.
Sorry.
To answer your question, yeah.
All right, let's move on to Mrs. Vickers. If you think Vickers killed Worthington, please stand. Any questions for her? No? Oh, yes, you.
What room does she mostly clean?
What rooms do I mostly clean? Quite often Miss Beatrice's, as there are many stray objects left in there. Love you though.
Okay, let's move on to Deborah. If you think Deborah killed her father, Edward Worthington, please stand. Okay. Okay. All right, if you have a question, please raise your hand. Yes, you.
Almost.
Oh.
I think I need another moment.
Okay. I'm kind of glad he's dead. Okay. Let's move on. Let's move on to Connie. That doesn't make
We all were.
Okay, let's move on to Connie. If you think Connie killed Worthington, please stand. Okay. If you have a question for her, please.
Oh my
raise your-
goodness!
If you have a question for her, please raise your hand. Yes, you.
I'll score it 10.
What?
Oh, you would have said this.
Okay. Any other questions for Connie? Yes, you.
What's your favorite flavor of weapon that is selling on the market?
Flavor?
Weapon?
I can't. No, I can't quite find that aisle. I can kind of get to the front, then I get to the register, and then I get lost. Cherry.
All right. Yes, you.
Why be the first one to run out of the room?
What?
Why be the first to run out of the room?
Itchy.
All right. Let's move on to Miss Beatrice. If you think Beatrice killed Worthington, please stand. Oh, okay. 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 Gee, okay. I thought y'all were just keeping yourself. Okay. If you have a question, please raise your hand. Yes, you.
Well,
Are those my?
Is that my bracelet?
Oh.
I also have this. And there's this ring I found in one of the rooms.
I think that goes a little beyond a little stealing. I think that's a literal crime.
Okay.
As a lawyer.
Any other questions for Beatrice? Yes, you.
Did you kill your brother because he was going to commit you?
I wouldn't kill little Bubba. He's one of the only family I have left. And to be honest, I don't think I'd be all that capable at covering it up if I did try to murder him.
It wasn't covered. He's right there.
Right.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
All right. We're gonna stop the questioning portion and move on to the climax and find out who indeed murdered Edward Worthington III. House lights. All right. As we've reviewed, any of you could have killed Mr. Worthington. The only question is, who?
Beatrice, what are you doing?
Getting rid of the black things. I don't like them.
For goodness sake, don't throw the olive slices on the floor. I thought they were bugs.
So did I.
Olive slices?
Black olives connected to them. I put slices of them on some of your dirt.
I gather, Miss Worthington, that you removed olives from your hors d'oeuvres before you ate them earlier, say before dinner.
Oh yes, Lieutenant. I never eat them. They taste nasty.
Did anybody else remove olives from their hors d'oeuvres before they ate them?
No, there's yum.
I confess.
What?
I picked a pimento off of one of us next to the hors d'oeuvres.
Surely playing with one's food has become a crime. Shouldn't you concentrate on solving Edward's murder?
That's precisely what I'm doing, Mrs. Worthington. In fact, I know who the murderer is.
Wait.
You stated earlier that you wiped the cake knife off of the dish towel after it had been through the wash, am I correct?
Yes, sir.
And then you stated nobody else touched it until Mr. and Mrs. Worthington, right?
That's right. But what?
Then only one person could have feasibly got the substance my lab chief found on the handle. Oil. Olive oil.
That's what you're searching the kitchen for.
Yes, but I was looking for bottled olive oil that you cook with.
I don't use it. I prefer crystal.
So I noticed. I didn't think to look for a jar of olives themselves. Obviously, that's how Mrs. Worthington passed the substance from her fingers to the blade.
What?
Hold on.
Miss Worthington, if you'll come with me, please.
With you? I suppose so. Where are we going, Lieutenant?
Jail, you killed your brother.
You think I killed little Bubba?
Huh?
Well, maybe I did. It was so confusing in the dark. I don't remember it all that well.
Wait! Lieutenant McMillan, Miss Beatrice didn't kill anyone. She could have hurt a fly. I murdered the master.
Can you believe it? The butler did it.
Good for you, Hollister. If you weren't going to the slammer, I'd give you a
raised. Please, ladies, this is no joking matter.
Who's joking?
You had better explain yourself.
Yes, sir. You see, I've grown very fond of Miss Beatrice over the years. The reason I never married is because I love her deeply. Though I could never tell her so, of course. It wouldn't be proper.
Hollister, how sweet.
I was terrified Mr. Worthington would send you away. As for you, when the lights went out, you used to have passed me in the dark to go to the table.
How did you know that?
I smelled her perfume, Primrose. Then I heard the knife clatter as she picked it up. I feared she intended to use it to stab her brother, so I felt her hand and took the weapon from her.
And stabbed the man yourself?
I hadn't intended to, but he fell back against me and the knife. I don't expect you to believe it was an accident, but...
Oh, Hollister, I couldn't kill Edward. He was my little Bubba. The knife had such a nice, shiny blade, so while no one was looking, I was going to hide it. I like to hide away lovely things.
I understand, Miss Beatrice. Please forgive me for misjudging you. It appears I have made an unfortunate mistake. I am prepared to do penance for the deed.
You've been a real gentleman, Hollister. Well, up until you killed yours, of course.
Thank you, Anna. I trust you and Mrs. Vickers and Edith will look after Miss Beatrice. I fear I shall not be returning.
Don't take care of her.
Alistair, come with me. I need to make a phone call to the park.
As you wish, sir.
The rest of you remain here since you witnessed his confession. I'll have to take your statements later. After you.
But dear man, don't worry, Eddie. We'll get a good lawyer to represent him. Come sit back down.
A good lawyer? I'd like to know how you plan to pay for one. I appreciate Hollister's efforts for getting rid of the ogre, but I don't tend to spend a fortune to defend him.
You are a cruel, greedy woman, Allegra.
Those are her better qualities.
Needless to say, you and your brat won't be getting any more handouts either. And as for Beatrice, I'm afraid Hollister's efforts were in vain. A rest home is where she belongs, and I intend to send her to one, the cheapest one I can find.
Oh my! You wouldn't!
Oh, I know, sis, and yes, she would. And so would I.
Louse, you're horrible. Oh, Mrs. Vickers, you were right. Tony is a terrible man.
I figured you'd realize that sooner or later.
I'm just glad it was sooner.
While I'm cleaning house, Roy, I expect your resignation tomorrow. From what we've all learned tonight, your business methods leave a lot to be desired.
But I explained.
Allegra, Roy wouldn't! Oh, I don't blame you for what you did. I just don't want you doing it with my money.
But it's not your money, and it never will be.
What?
Edward left a will. I'll schedule a formal reading up some other time, but here's the gist of it now. He left everything he owned to his daughter, Deborah, with two provisions. First, that if she married, she would retain her maiden name, and if she were to produce a son, she would name him Edward IV after him.
I don't have any problem with that.
He also stipulated that you would take care of his sister, Beatrice, for the rest of her life.
I would have done it gladly anyway. Well, Mom, I guess Father really did care something about us.
What do you know? Boy had a heart after all. What about me? He was me something too. I gave him the best years of my life. Come on, he told me that's not saying a lot. Oh, shut up! Well, Lord, what did it really be?
Your Louis Vuitton luggage, and as many articles of clothing you can fit in it, period.
Luggage? You mean I killed all the time when we're dead late? Why did I play on beach and picked it up and I saw it repeatedly? I knew someone behind it was holding it. I wasn't sure whoever had it guns to kill him. So I gave Edward a shot backward. Yes, I helped skewer the man and I'm glad I did it.
Very interesting. Oh, hold this, Hollister. No, you're not. This one's Hollister. I'm gonna have another use for these. Oh, good. That's great. That's good stuff.
Sis, don't say anything else, please.
That advice is too late, Mr. Blackwell. When Hollister said that Worthington fell against the blade, he was telling the truth. He's not the murderer, but the woman who pushed her husband against the blade is. Allegra Worthington, I'm arresting you for the murder of Edward Worthington III.
Take me away. I don't care. Just get me out of this hell.
Yep. Okay, hold on. Now, right cuff, okay? You know what? You get one. You get one. You all get one.
I can't believe it. Someone used the front door.
Hollister, you sweet man, why did you tell me how you felt ages ago?
It wouldn't have been the correct thing to do, Miss Beatrice.
Piffle, we'll discuss this later. In private.
Yes, ma'am.
Hollister, I think it's no time you no longer were Aunt Butler. I think you should retire with a generous pension, of course, and you can continue living in Worthington Manor for as long as you'd like.
Oh, Miss Deborah.
Mrs. Vickers, Ina, Edith, you've showed me more love than poor father was ever able to. I hope none of you ever leave.
Deborah, about my job.
There's no question you've invested the money brilliantly, Roy. I'm just not sure I approve of your methods. You can continue being the financial advisor for Worthington Enterprises, but we would have to meet every Friday afternoon. If I see anything irregular...
You won't. The figures will look textbook examples, I swear.
That's fine.
Does this mean you get to keep your job?
Yes, Connie.
That's great! Walmart's having a big fall blow. I sale tomorrow. I'll be there first thing when the doors open.
Whatever you say.
Yeah.
Well, Deborah, if you're inheriting Worthington Enterprises, you'll need a good lawyer more than ever.
Don't worry, Lawrence. I'm sure between us, Mom and I will be able to find one who doesn't betray his client's confidence.
Me, I'm fired.
Like a gas girl on a 4th of July, baby! And Lawrence, you can tell that writer fellow, Jameson, he's wasting his time if he intends to finish that book. If anyone should write a biography about Edward, it should be me who writes it. It's safe to say, a bio about his first wife who was there during the murder will knock any version right off the bookstore shelves.
Are you really?
I am, if you'll help me. Your father was a tyrant, but he was my tyrant. And I'll tell you how it is. I'm sure if I think of it, I can think of a few good things to say about him. What do you say?
I think it's a great idea. He did pay you alimony when he didn't have to, and he provided for me and Aunt Bee.
If you need somebody to take shorthand and type it up, I'm a darn good secretary.
Mom?
Well, you weren't taking Edward away from me, taking away from Allegra, so I guess you gave her a taste of her own medicine. I should thank you for that.
You can stay on board, Peggy Sue.
Thanks a whole bunch. If I'm going to be honest, I'm happy that I'm going to be working for a woman for a change. Maybe not all the bruises where I kept on getting pinch will finally clear up.
Well, that leaves everyone just but me. Where do I stand?
Out in the cold, Tony. Edith sums you up perfectly. You're a terrible man. If I see you around here after tonight, I'll sick the dogs on you.
But you don't own any dogs.
I'll buy some. Apparently, Lieutenant McMillan's men are arriving. Allegra's going to be behind bars for a long, long time.
She had one thing going for her, though.
What's that?
She's always looked good in stripes.
Oh, come on. It's really...
Played out for your enjoyment and edification. Speaking for the playwright, I am his alter ego, as you recall. I hope you all had a good time. All of us did. Thank you. Good night.
Hello, folks. That is our show. Thank you so, so much. Thank you, thank you. Give them a hand. Give them a hand. With it being our Sunday show, we have to take some time to thank some very, very special folks. Some folks that have put in a ton of work for the show, and a couple of very important shout-outs. So, our student director for this show came on and has been an immense help with being a leader, being a person that everybody on the cast looked up to and helped us immensely in rehearsals. That's Jacob Wagner. So the person who basically had a hand in
anything you can't see behind these red walls, everything on here. They're a very, very special human being, and without them in this organization, we would be much, much less. Holly, our student. In this show, we did have a little bit of improv, as you had noticed, and we had asked this person to help us out because they are also very much so a leader in the cast and someone that just embodies the spirit of Willoughby South drama. That's Rochelle Davis. Every single light cue. Thank you. You're doing a really good job up there. The person responsible for that is someone I hold very near and dear to my heart. She is extremely talented, extremely diligent, and very, very good at asking the right kind of questions to be like, when I say, well, maybe it should look a little bit spookier, she kind of digs into it and gets to the bottom of it so we can really make the perfect, perfect set. Bree Campbell. She's great. And all of our makeup, I have to give a special round of applause to our amazing, amazing Bella Baker. Thank you so much. Any costume that you see had to be ran by this very, very special person, Maddie Fair. I appreciate you so much. I'd like you all to take a look at the walls of our set. All of that was done by one single stencil. And this person told me about it, and I was like, that's probably a good idea. But in hindsight, it looks very, very good, even though it took us many, many hours to do. Amber Cameron, thank you. This person helped out with every single prop. They made an amazing prop table, super organized, very diligent. Christy, thank you so much. All of our spooky, spooky lightning and all of everything that we have been listening to is because of Ian Miller. Thank you. People that have helped out with marketing for the show and designed the shirts and the playbills. One is not with us, Kaya, but also Jimmy's mom helped a lot with that as well. And head of our photography division, very, very special individual, Sabrina. Thank you so much for taking our photos so we can make these memories last forever. And it's Sunday, so I only have one more group of people to prop out. That's the moms and dads that have helped out all week during Tech Week to feed all of these many, many students. But specifically, Christina and Tina, the heads of our parent. It's important to prop these folks out because without them and everybody that is behind them, this wouldn't be the program it would be today. And I'd like to take another second to thank all of you for coming out and taking a little bit of your Sunday to come and support these amazing young actors and stage folks. Thank you again. Thank you. we have for you today. However, please stay tuned and continue to look out for tickets for the musical, which is The Wedding Singer, based on the Adam Sandler film. So please, please come support that. Thank you, and good night. Everybody, take one last bow.